Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. It's Trey, and let's talk about anime and new anime. The reason why I want to bring this up is because I was seeing people, a little bit of discord with the whole Demon Slayer, the Hashira training arc, and IGN gave it a 3, which go to fuck hell, IGN. Like, for real? Really? Really? And then I saw some other videos of people complaining about it and talking about like how it's pretty much filler or whatever. And I'm like, yeah, it's the first time filler has actually been included into an actual manga. And the reason why I want to bring this up is because that's my crux right there, is that with pop culture and how anime has kind of risen, a lot of these anime fans, these brand new anime fans, and I'm talking about the mostly Americans who done got into it. They always want to complain about filler, right? But growing up in the 90s, our animes did have fillers, and I say the reason why I agree with filler is because it keeps the anime in a culture zeitgeist. It keeps you interested, because when the mangaka has, they're drawing and writing and plotting out the story, and they're trying to put it out every week, while the anime is animating this stuff, and sometimes the anime catches up, right? Okay, so how do you keep the momentum of this anime going if you caught up? You create filler. Now, I know some people don't like it or whatever, but you need filler. People don't understand, like, if you go back and watch these animes and you take out the filler, these animes are so short that they would never become the culture juggernauts that they are if they took all of that filler out. I understand some people don't like it or whatever because you want to get straight to the point, but you kind of need it. You really do. Because I always hear a lot of people always complain about what's taking, My Hero, Demon Slayer, other animes, other new animes like Attack on Titans or whatever. What's taking them so long to get animated? You know what I mean? Jujutsu Kaisen, right? What's taking them so long or whatever, right? The reason what's taking them so long is that they're not doing filler, and because they're going by the storylines, and because these new mangas, that's another thing too. The new mangas, they aren't lasting long. 5 years, 10 years tops, maybe, compared to the old school animes who are 20 years in or 15 years in, and they're, you know what I'm saying, and then they finally finishing up the story, you know what I'm saying? But they made so much material that it stretches so long that you didn't even realize how many years was into it. Now, I know I'm not saying this is for every anime, but when you have iconic animes or popular animes that have a lot of action oriented or have like a massive fan base or whatever, I say fill it up with some filler, fill it up with some movies, and that's another thing too we're running into is a lot of these animes, a lot of these new animes are ending with movies, because the ending of the arc for their, in order to close up the story, is not even long enough to expand on a TV show. You get what I'm saying? It's not enough material to the point where they're like, well, we're going to just wrap this up in movie. I understand some people don't like it, but once again, it goes back to the fact that there's no filler. Y'all don't want filler. From what people are saying, and what, they're saying, we don't want filler. So you don't want things to be expanded upon. You know what I mean? I respect Kubo, because if you guys don't know, Kubo had to rush the last arc of Bleach because he was getting sick, but Shonen wanted him to continue Bleach, and he kind of had to rush through a lot of things in order for to him to make the deadline so he can finally wrap up Bleach like he said or whatever. And now when he came back, he did the anime and expanded upon the Thousand Year Blood arc, where he wasn't able to draw it out. He was able to expand upon it, which I hope, now that the manga is done with Bleach or whatever, I hope he goes back and add all of these moments in the anime and put it into manga form, because I know some people like to be like, especially it's really Americans that likes to be like, oh, it doesn't count if it's in the anime, which that's such a dumb thing to really say, because y'all do realize they do talk to the mangaka artists, right? Even though the mangaka artists don't have say in the filler or whatever, they do talk to them, right? They do go to meetings and like, hey, like, we're going to try to expand on the story, and some of them do have oversight on what I'm saying. They give them, what I mean? Like, they let them know, like, hey, we're going to add this to your world. You know what I mean? It's kind of like the same thing like with George Lucas, when we did the Star Wars Expanded Universe. You know what I mean? George didn't write all of that amazing stuff for Star Wars. It was a collaboration. You look at filler in some of the anime movies that y'all like to be like, oh, blah 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 blah. Look at it as a collaboration, because even though the manga artist is writing and doing the drawings, they all can't think of every idea. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes collaboration does work. I don't know why people seem to forget that. But another thing is, y'all complain about filler and these movies, but then get mad that it takes years in between, because all they're doing is focusing solely on the arc. So you don't have nothing there. You know what I'm saying? Because all they got to do is focus on just doing the arc themselves, so they can put a little bit more time in. And I understand some people also want to talk about the animation or whatever, but again, when we were growing up, there was like about old school anime. Sometimes there are like about 5 different teams. I will tell you that. I can definitely vouch and tell you that there are times when you are watching some of the most iconic animes back in the day of growing up, where you can definitely tell there are 5 different animation art styles going on, not in one episode sometimes, but like, okay, one episode of Dragon Ball Z will be drawn by this person. I can't really think of any names right now. Fuck, I'm drawing blanks. But okay, let's just say this episode of Dragon Ball Z was drawn by Yamashi, right? Then the next episode is drawn by Takaku. Then the next episode is drawn by Kafune. You get what I'm saying? But it's always those same rotating artists. And sometimes the models are not on point or whatever, and they're not sloppy. It's just that you got 3 different artists who are trying to animate this show and these episodes at the same time. So you wasn't just behest to keeping the show in one solidary style, but you wasn't killing the team, if that makes sense. Like, I understand we want to keep everything on model. We want to make sure everything is just right there. And I respect that. But at the same time, it's killing these artists because they're keeping that one team without growing that team to continue to do the work that needs to be done. And again, when you're not having reprieve from that, when you're not trying to just focus solely on that arc, it kind of creates this We need to make this stuff look perfect. Not one line out of place. You get what I'm saying? And that's all well intent. That's beautiful or whatever. But at the same time, give a little breather to that main team. Let another team come in, and then that's why I say with the filler, let that team be that filler team who, like, the art style is close to on brand, but not as great as the main team. You get what I'm saying? And then, you know, you come up with a arc that'll hold everybody over until it's time for the main team to come back. That's how I look at it. I understand some people don't like filler, and I get it, because there are shows where the filler is just like, oh my fucking God. You know what I'm saying? So I get it. But we were still talking about the anime, were we not? We were still talking about the anime. It was still content to mine and look at or whatever. It's not enough content for these new gen animes because they don't have fillers. They barely have movies. You know what I'm saying? They barely have any OVA specials, for God's sakes. So that's why I'm saying, like, hey, maybe let's respect the fillers. Maybe let's bring back the fillers so that way we can keep these animes in the cultural zeitgeist, because now people are like, okay, now that Demon Slayer, the Hashira training arc ended. Okay, let's get into the Infinite Castle. But now they're like, okay, but the Infinite Castle isn't long enough to really expand. Well, I mean, they could expand upon it, but they're trying to go as accurate to the manga, so they're splitting it up into 3 movies, kind of like how Sailor Moon, the last 2 arcs in Sailor Moon, they split them up in movies. You know, you had Sailor Moon. You had them on Netflix. So you got 4 Sailor Moon movies that are the last arc of the remake of Crystal, which Sailor Moon Crystal is supposed to be supposed to be like Brotherhood, where it's only just the manga. And again, that was another show that took forever and a day to get to shit. You get what I'm saying? Because again, there's no filler. There's nothing to hold anything together. So bam, guess what? We're going to go by the manga. And if you pick up the manga, so Sailor Moon Super S and then Sailor Moon Stars, it's only 2 volumes for both of those arcs. So that's only 4 things. So that's why there's 4 movies to finish up, because there's really nothing there. There's really nothing there because it's rushed. I mean, it feels rushed to me, but that's just the way it was drawn in the manga, and then bam, that's how you got what you got now. But it's just food for thought. Tell me what you guys think in the comment section below, and I'll catch you guys later. Peace out.